The Smiley Face Murders theory represents one of the most intriguing and controversial criminological enigmas of recent decades. It suggests that dozens of deaths of young college students, officially classified as accidental drownings, might actually be connected homicides. This theory was developed by Kevin Gannon and Anthony Duarte, retired detectives from the New York Police Department, alongside Dr. Lee Gilbertson, a criminal justice professor specializing in gangs. Together, they argued that around 45 young men found dead in bodies of water between the 1990s and 2010 were victims of an organized group of killers. The central element of this theory is the discovery of smiley face graffiti near the locations where the bodies were found in at least a dozen cases. Investigators believe these symbols function as a signature left by the perpetrators. Additionally, the victims share strikingly similar characteristics. Young men, mostly white, successful college students who were well-liked and athletic. They disappeared after nights of drinking at bars or parties and were later found dead in bodies of water. Water is thought to have been strategically chosen to destroy forensic evidence. According to Gannon and his team, the deaths follow a chilling pattern. The young men are allegedly drugged, abducted, and possibly tortured before being placed in bodies of water to simulate accidental drownings. This level of precision suggests the involvement of a highly organized group rather than a lone killer. Gannon has referred to this group as the Smiley Face Gang, theorizing that it operates in cells of 12 to 15 members across various U.S. cities, with a higher concentration in the upper Midwest, including states like Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Michigan. The group's coordination is described as sophisticated, with Gannon likening their methods to military precision. He has even speculated that the killers may pre-select their victims using social media to identify young men who fit their desired profile. Beyond the infamous smiley face graffiti, investigators claim to have identified 12 additional symbols connected to the deaths. These symbols are believed to tie into a specific ideology, though details about this alleged motivation. One of the most infamous cases tied to the Smiley Face Murders theory is that of Patrick McNeil, a 21-year-old college student who vanished in February 1997 after leaving a bar in Manhattan. His body was discovered weeks later in the East River, miles from where he was last seen. Investigators noted several inconsistencies in his case. Witnesses reported seeing Patrick being followed by a suspicious van, and the condition of his body suggested he had been held for an extended period before being placed in the water. These details led retired detectives Kevin Gannon and Anthony Duarte to classify his death as a homicide and connect it to their broader theory. Another well-known case is Christopher Jenkins, a University of Minnesota student who disappeared on Halloween night in 2002. 4 months later, his body was found in the Mississippi River, still wearing his Halloween costume. Initially ruled an accidental drowning, Christopher's death was later reclassified as a homicide after further investigation revealed suspicious circumstances. In both cases, smiley face graffiti was reportedly found near where the bodies were recovered, further fueling speculation about an organized group of killers. Despite the compelling patterns and connections highlighted by Gannon and his team, the Smiley Face Murders theory has faced significant skepticism from law enforcement and experts. In 2008, the FBI publicly dismissed the idea, stating that there was no credible evidence to support the existence of a serial killer or organized group behind these deaths. According to their analysis, the majority of cases appeared to be alcohol-related drownings, tragic but not criminal. They cited the lack of physical evidence, such as signs of trauma or foul play, in most of the victims. Critics have also pointed out that smiley face graffiti is a common urban symbol, found in countless locations unrelated to these cases. The broad geographic and temporal spread of the deaths, spanning over 2 decades and multiple states, further complicates the theory. Additionally, many of the victims were last seen near bodies of water after drinking heavily, an environment that naturally increases the risk of accidental drowning. These factors have led many to view the theory as speculative at best. Supporters of the theory, however, argue that the sheer number of similarities between the cases cannot be dismissed as mere coincidence. They point to the consistent profiles of the victims, young, athletic, academically successful men, as evidence of a deliberate selection process. Additionally, Gannon and his team have emphasized the unusual circumstances surrounding many of the deaths, such as bodies being found in areas already searched or showing signs inconsistent with prolonged water exposure. These anomalies, they claim, suggest a level of staging meant to mislead investigators. Another key argument from proponents is the alleged presence of additional symbols beyond the smiley face graffiti. Gannon has stated that his team identified at least 12 distinct markings near recovery sites, which they believe are connected to a broader ideology or ritualistic motive. While these claims remain unverified, they add an unsettling layer to an already chilling theory. For supporters, these details point to a sophisticated and calculated operation rather than isolated accidents. The cultural impact of the Smiley Face Murders theory has been significant, inspiring documentaries, films, and even fictional works. Among the most notable is the 2019 docuseries Smiley Face Killers: The Hunt for Justice, which aired on the Oxygen Network. The series explored several cases connected to the eerie theory, focusing on discrepancies in official investigations and presenting evidence that might suggest foul play. Each episode highlighted a victim's story, uncovering details that proponents believe support the idea of a coordinated group targeting young men. Additionally, the 2020 film Smiley Face Killers, loosely inspired by the theory, brought the chilling concept to a wider audience. While fictionalized, it drew attention to the unsettling patterns and unanswered questions surrounding these deaths. Beyond entertainment, the theory has sparked debates among criminologists, law enforcement, and the public about the nature of these cases, whether they represent tragic coincidences or something far more sinister. For families of the victims, the Smiley Face Murders theory has been both a source of hope and frustration. On one hand, it offers an explanation for deaths that many feel were prematurely ruled as accidents. Several families have expressed doubts about the official investigations, citing inconsistencies and a lack of thoroughness in examining alternative possibilities. Gannon and his team have worked closely with some of these families, advocating for the reclassification of cases as homicides and pushing for renewed investigations. On the other hand, the theory has also attracted criticism for potentially exploiting grieving families and sensationalizing tragic events. Skeptics argue that focusing on unproven connections between cases detracts from addressing the real causes behind these deaths, such as alcohol abuse and unsafe environments. For many families, the lack of closure remains the most painful aspect, whether their loved ones were victims of an organized group or simply tragic accidents. One of the most haunting aspects of the Smiley Face Murders theory is the alleged sophistication of the group behind these crimes. Gannon has described their operations as meticulously planned, with kidnappings executed in a way that leaves minimal evidence behind. He theorizes that the group uses advanced tactics to avoid detection, such as monitoring police movements and choosing remote locations for disposing of bodies. If true, this level of organization would make them incredibly difficult to track and prosecute. Adding to the mystery is the possibility that the group communicates through encrypted channels or private networks, allowing them to coordinate across state lines without leaving a digital trail. Gannon has even suggested that some members may have backgrounds in law enforcement or military training, which could explain their ability to evade detection for decades. While these claims remain speculative, they paint a chilling picture of a network operating in the shadows, targeting victims with precision and intent. The role of water in these cases is another unsettling element that proponents of the theory often highlight. According to Gannon, the choice to place victims in rivers, lakes, or other bodies of water is not random, but rather a calculated decision to obscure evidence. Water can wash away DNA traces, degrade clothing fibers, and complicate autopsy results, making it harder for investigators to determine if foul play was involved. In many of the cases, the victims' bodies were found days or even weeks after their disappearance, further complicating forensic analysis. Additionally, supporters of the theory argue that the locations where the bodies are recovered are often suspicious. Some victims were found in areas that had already been thoroughly searched by authorities, raising questions about whether their bodies were moved or staged. These anomalies have led investigators like Gannon to believe that the perpetrators are deliberately manipulating crime scenes to mislead law enforcement and maintain the appearance of accidental drownings. Critics of the theory, however, argue that many of these so-called anomalies can be explained by natural factors. For instance, bodies in water often drift due to currents, which could account for them being found in unexpected locations. Decomposition and exposure to the elements can also create misleading signs that might appear suspicious but are actually consistent with accidental drownings. Experts have pointed out that these factors, combined with alcohol impairment, make tragic accidents far more likely than an elaborate conspiracy. Furthermore, skeptics emphasize the lack of concrete evidence tying the cases together. While the Smiley Face graffiti is a compelling visual link, its ubiquity in urban environments makes it a weak foundation for connecting dozens of deaths across multiple states. Law enforcement officials have repeatedly stated that no forensic evidence, such as matching DNA or similar injuries, has been found to suggest the involvement of a single group or individual. Without this crucial link, they argue, the theory remains speculative and unproven. Despite the skepticism, the Smiley Face Murders theory continues to captivate public imagination, fueled by its eerie details and unanswered questions. Online forums and social media platforms have become hubs for amateur sleuths and conspiracy theorists who pore over case files, share theories, and debate the plausibility of Gannon's claims. Some have even attempted to map out the locations of smiley face graffiti and victim recoveries, searching for patterns that might lend credibility to the theory. This grassroots interest has kept the discussion alive, even as official investigations remain closed. The theory has also sparked broader conversations about safety and accountability. Many of the victims disappeared after nights of heavy drinking, raising concerns about the risks young people face in social settings. Advocates for campus safety have used these cases to push for better education on alcohol consumption and personal security. While the connection to an organized group remains unproven, the tragic deaths have highlighted vulnerabilities that could help prevent future incidents. For Gannon and his team, the pursuit of justice remains deeply personal. They have spent years independently investigating these cases, often at their own expense, driven by a belief that the truth is being overlooked. In interviews, Gannon has expressed frustration with law enforcement agencies that he feels are too quick to dismiss these deaths as accidents. He has called for more rigorous investigations, including the use of advanced forensic techniques and a re-examination of evidence in light of the patterns his team has identified. One of the most contentious aspects of the theory is its suggestion of a ritualistic or ideological motive behind the killings. While Gannon has been careful not to speculate too far, he has hinted at the possibility that the symbols found near recovery sites could point to a larger belief system or purpose guiding the perpetrators. This idea, though unproven, adds a sinister dimension to the theory and raises questions about how such an organized group could operate undetected for so long. The alleged scale of the Smiley Face Murders theory is another factor that has drawn both intrigue and criticism. Gannon has suggested that the group responsible could consist of hundreds, if not thousands, of members operating in cells across the country. This level of coordination would require an extraordinary degree of secrecy and discipline, which skeptics argue is highly improbable. The lack of whistleblowers or credible witnesses coming forward over the decades further complicates the plausibility of such a vast network. Even so, the idea of a hidden organization preying on young men taps into a primal fear shared by many: the existence of unseen forces capable of committing heinous crimes with impunity. This fear has been amplified by media portrayals and real-life cases of organized crime or cult-like groups. For supporters of the theory, the absence of definitive proof does not negate its possibility. It only underscores the cunning and resourcefulness of those involved. One of the most puzzling aspects of the theory is the apparent randomness of the locations where the victims are found. The deaths span a wide geographic area, from urban centers to more remote regions, making it difficult to establish a clear pattern of operation. Gannon and his team have suggested that this dispersion might be intentional, designed to confuse investigators and make it harder to connect the cases. If true, this tactic reflects a level of strategic planning that is both chilling and highly sophisticated. Supporters of the theory often point to the psychological profile of the alleged perpetrators as a key factor in understanding their motives. They speculate that the killers may derive a sense of power or satisfaction from outsmarting law enforcement and leaving behind cryptic symbols as taunts. This idea aligns with known behaviors of certain serial offenders who seek recognition for their crimes, though in this case, the group's anonymity adds an extra layer of menace. The smiley face graffiti, if indeed connected, could serve as both a signature and a message, a reminder that they remain unseen, yet ever present. The theory also raises troubling questions about the role of technology in modern crime. Gannon has speculated that the group may use social media and other digital tools to identify potential victims, targeting individuals who fit their specific profile. This possibility is particularly unsettling, given how much personal information people share online, often without considering the risks. If true, it suggests a chilling level of premeditation, with perpetrators carefully selecting and tracking their victims before making their move. At the same time, the digital age has also fueled public fascination with the theory. Online communities dedicated to unsolved crimes have dissected every detail of the Smiley Face Murders, sharing maps, timelines, and theories in an attempt to uncover the truth. While some of these efforts have been criticized for spreading misinformation or sensationalizing tragedy, they have also kept pressure on authorities to revisit certain cases. The internet has become both a tool for speculation and a platform for advocacy, ensuring that these deaths remain in the public eye. For law enforcement, the Smiley Face Murders theory presents a complex challenge. On one hand, investigators must consider the possibility of connections between cases that initially appear unrelated. On the other, they must avoid being swayed by speculation without concrete evidence. This delicate balance has led many departments to stick to their original conclusions, ruling the deaths as accidental drownings. Critics argue that this reluctance may stem from limited resources or a fear of admitting oversight in previous investigations. Meanwhile, Gannon and his team remain steadfast in their belief that justice has not been served. They have called for a national task force to re-examine the cases, pooling resources and expertise to uncover potential links. Such an effort would be unprecedented, but could provide clarity on whether these deaths are isolated tragedies or part of a larger, more sinister pattern. For now, the theory remains unresolved, leaving families and supporters in a painful limbo. The emotional toll on the families of the victims cannot be overstated. Many have expressed frustration with the lack of answers and the dismissive attitude of authorities toward the Smiley Face Murders theory. For them, the idea that their loved ones may have been targeted by an organized group is both horrifying and validating. It suggests that their deaths were not random accidents, but deliberate acts of violence. This belief has driven some families to join Gannon's efforts, advocating for reopened investigations and greater scrutiny of the evidence. At the same time, the families face criticism from skeptics who argue that clinging to the theory may hinder progress in understanding what truly happened. Some believe that focusing on unproven connections detracts from addressing broader issues like alcohol-related accidents or campus safety. For these families, however, the pursuit of justice outweighs any doubts. They are determined to uncover the truth, no matter how long it takes or how improbable it may seem. One of the lingering mysteries surrounding the Smiley Face Murders theory is the alleged involvement of multiple perpetrators. If Gannon's claims about a nationwide network are accurate, it would represent one of the most complex and elusive criminal organizations ever documented. The idea of such a group operating undetected for decades raises questions about their methods, motives, and the extent of their reach. Could they truly be coordinating across state lines, or is the theory overstating connections between unrelated cases? The possibility of ritualistic or ideological motives adds another layer of intrigue. While Gannon has avoided making definitive claims about the group's beliefs, he has hinted at the significance of the symbols found near recovery sites. Some theorists have speculated that these killings could be part of a larger ritual or even a form of initiation within the group. If true, it would suggest a chilling level of commitment and organization, with each act serving a purpose beyond mere violence. The debate over the Smiley Face Murders theory highlights broader issues in the field of criminal investigation. Cases involving accidental drownings are notoriously difficult to solve, as water often destroys critical evidence and complicates autopsy results. This has led some experts to call for improved protocols when handling such cases, including more thorough searches of surrounding areas and greater use of forensic technology. While these measures might not confirm Gannon's theory, they could help prevent similar tragedies in the future. For the public, the theory serves as a reminder of the dangers that can lurk beneath seemingly ordinary circumstances. The idea that young men could be targeted while enjoying a night out taps into fears about personal safety and vulnerability. Whether or not the Smiley Face murders are real, the discussion has sparked important conversations about how people can protect themselves and recognize potential risks in their environment. In this sense, the theory has had an impact far beyond its original scope. For many, the Smiley Face Murders theory represents a modern-day urban legend, an unsettling blend of fact and speculation that has taken on a life of its own. The chilling imagery of smiley face graffiti near crime scenes, combined with the mysterious circumstances of the deaths, has fueled countless theories and discussions. Even those who doubt the existence of an organized group cannot deny the eerie coincidences that tie these cases together. Whether or not the theory is true, it has left an indelible mark on popular culture and criminology. As the years pass, the likelihood of uncovering definitive evidence diminishes. Time erodes physical clues and memories fade, making it harder to revisit these cases with fresh eyes. Yet Gannon and his team remain committed to their mission, believing that even one breakthrough could validate their work. For them, the fight is not just about proving a theory. It's about giving families the answers they deserve and ensuring that justice is served, no matter how elusive it may seem. The unresolved nature of the Smiley Face Murders theory leaves a lingering sense of unease. If Gannon and his team are correct, then a highly organized and dangerous group has been operating in plain sight for decades, preying on vulnerable young men without consequence. On the other hand, if the theory is unfounded, it raises questions about how easily patterns can be misinterpreted and how grief can fuel the search for meaning in tragedy. Either way, the debate underscores the complexity of human behavior and the challenges of uncovering the truth. Ultimately, the Smiley Face Murders theory forces us to confront uncomfortable realities about crime, safety, and justice. It reminds us that not all questions have clear answers and that some mysteries may never be fully solved. Whether these deaths were the result of a coordinated effort or a series of tragic coincidences, they have left an enduring impact on families, investigators, and the public. The smiley face symbol, once a benign image of happiness, now carries a darker connotation, one that continues to haunt those searching for closure. The media's role in perpetuating the Smiley Face Murders theory cannot be ignored. Documentaries, podcasts, and social media platforms have amplified the story, often presenting it as a chilling mystery that defies explanation. Shows like Smiley Face Killers, The Hunt for Justice have brought the theory to mainstream audiences, blending investigative journalism with dramatized storytelling. While these productions have raised awareness about the cases, they have also been criticized for sensationalizing tragedy and prioritizing entertainment over factual accuracy. Social media, in particular, has breathed new life into the theory. Platforms like TikTok and Reddit have become hubs for amateur investigators who share theories, maps, and timelines in an attempt to connect the dots. Viral videos have reignited interest in cases that had faded from public memory, sparking debates about whether these deaths were accidents or something far more sinister. This digital resurgence has kept the theory alive, ensuring that it remains a topic of fascination and controversy. For those who believe in the Smiley Face Murders theory, the lack of resolution is both maddening and motivating. Gannon and his team continue to push for reopened investigations, hoping to uncover evidence that will finally connect the dots. They argue that dismissing these cases as unrelated accidents ignores the patterns they have painstakingly identified. To them, the smiley face graffiti is not just a coincidence. It's a deliberate signature left by perpetrators who are confident in their ability to evade justice. Meanwhile, skeptics warn against drawing conclusions based on circumstantial evidence. They argue that the theory risks overshadowing real issues, such as alcohol abuse and unsafe environments, which may have contributed to these deaths. For critics, the focus should be on preventing future tragedies rather than chasing unproven connections. Still, the theory remains a powerful reminder of how easily fear and speculation can shape our understanding of crime and justice. As the Smiley Face Murders theory continues to spark debate, its legacy extends beyond the cases themselves. It has become a symbol of how unresolved mysteries can captivate the public and challenge traditional narratives about crime. Whether or not the theory is true, it has highlighted flaws in investigative processes and the limitations of forensic science when faced with complex circumstances. For some, it serves as a cautionary tale about jumping to conclusions. For others, it represents an unyielding search for justice. In the end, the truth behind these deaths may never be fully uncovered. Time has eroded evidence and skepticism has overshadowed efforts to connect the cases. Yet the theory persists, fueled by those who refuse to accept simple explanations for complex tragedies. The smiley face graffiti remains an enduring symbol, a mark that raises questions about coincidence, intent, and the darker corners of human behavior. Whether it signifies a chilling conspiracy or a macabre coincidence, its presence ensures that these cases will not be forgotten. The Smiley Face Murders theory has also sparked criticism for its reliance on circumstantial evidence. Investigators have pointed out that smiley face graffiti, while eerie, is a common and widely used symbol in urban environments. Its presence near crime scenes does not necessarily indicate a connection to the deaths. Additionally, forensic experts have noted that many of the alleged patterns in the cases such as the victims' profiles and the use of water to obscure evidence, could simply reflect coincidental similarities rather than deliberate planning. Despite these critiques, the theory's proponents remain undeterred. Gannon and his team argue that the sheer number of cases fitting their criteria cannot be dismissed as random. They believe that further investigation could reveal overlooked links between the victims and possibly uncover evidence of a coordinated effort. For supporters, the lack of definitive proof is not a reason to abandon the theory. It's a call to dig deeper and uncover the truth behind these chilling deaths. In many ways, the Smiley Face Murders theory reflects humanity's need to find meaning in chaos. The idea of a hidden network of killers operating with precision is terrifying, but it also offers a sense of order to what might otherwise be senseless tragedies. For families, the theory provides a framework to understand their loss, even if it comes with its own set of unanswered questions. For the public, it serves as a reminder of how little we may truly know about the dangers that exist around us. As the theory continues to evolve, it remains a source of fascination and fear. Whether it represents a groundbreaking revelation or an elaborate coincidence, its impact on criminology and public consciousness is undeniable. The cases tied to the theory have sparked debates about investigative practices, media influence, and the nature of justice itself. And while the truth may remain elusive, the story of the Smiley Face Murders ensures that these deaths will not fade into obscurity. The Smiley Face Murders theory taps into a deep-seated fear of the unknown, blending elements of conspiracy, mystery, and tragedy. It forces us to confront the possibility that some crimes may be orchestrated by forces far beyond our understanding. Whether the theory is ultimately proven or dismissed, its existence has reshaped discussions about crime and safety in America. It challenges us to think critically about the stories we accept and the evidence we demand. In the end, the enduring fascination with the Smiley Face Murders reflects humanity's need to grapple with uncertainty. The theory may never provide the answers its proponents seek, but it has undeniably left its mark on criminology and public consciousness. As investigators continue to explore these cases, one thing remains clear: the search for truth is as much about understanding ourselves as it is about uncovering facts. And in that search, the smiley face symbol lingers, haunting, enigmatic, and unforgettable. The enduring mystery of the Smiley Face Murders theory has transformed it into a cultural phenomenon, sparking debates, documentaries, and online investigations. While skeptics dismiss it as an urban legend, the theory's proponents continue to push for answers, driven by the unsettling similarities between the cases. Whether these deaths were the work of a coordinated group or tragic accidents remains unknown. What is certain, however, is that the theory has reshaped how we view unexplained deaths and the possibility of hidden networks operating in plain sight. As investigators and families grapple with the unanswered questions, the smiley face graffiti remains a haunting symbol, an enigmatic mark that straddles the line between coincidence and intent. For some, it represents a chilling clue. For others, it's a reminder of how easily patterns can be misinterpreted. Regardless of its true meaning, the symbol ensures that these cases will remain in public consciousness, challenging us to confront the darker aspects of human behavior and the mysteries that may never be solved. The Smiley Face Murders theory suggests that the deaths of approximately 45 young men, officially classified as accidental drownings, were actually homicides committed by an individual or group of killers. Proposed by retired NYPD detectives Kevin Gannon and Anthony Duarte, along with criminal justice professor Lee Gilbertson, the theory claims that smiley face graffiti found near some of the recovery sites serves as a signature left by the perpetrators. Despite its popularity in media and online discussions, the theory has faced significant skepticism from law enforcement and experts. The FBI reviewed the cases and concluded there was no evidence linking these deaths to a serial killer or gang, attributing most incidents to alcohol-related drownings. Critics also highlight the ubiquity of smiley face graffiti in urban environments and inconsistencies in the alleged patterns connecting the cases. While some families and investigators continue to advocate for reopening these cases, others dismiss the theory as an urban legend fueled by speculation rather than concrete evidence.